It's now my honor and pleasure to introduce tonight Jim Rogers, who has been chosen by this wonderful class to speak to them as they leave Hockaday. Intrigued by his adventures and delighted by his reputation as a wonderful speaker, the class looks forward to his stories and lessons from his life as they begin a new adventure in their lives. Mr. Rogers, according to the jacket of his most recent book, Adventure Capitalist, had his first job at age 5, picking up bottles at baseball games. He was as assiduous a scholar as he was a businessman and won a scholarship to Yale. After Yale, he attended graduate school at Balliol College at Oxford. After a stint in the Army, he began work on Wall Street. He co-founded the Quantum Fund, a global investment partnership. During the next 10 years, the portfolio gained more than 4,000%, while the S&P rose less than 50%. At the age of 37, therefore, he decided to retire, although in his case, that's a relative term. Continuing to manage his own portfolio, Mr. Rogers became a professor of finance at Columbia University's Graduate School of Business and served as moderator of the Dreyfus Roundtable on WCBS and the Profit Motive on Fox News Network. At the same time, he laid the groundwork for his lifelong dream, an around-the-world motorcycle trip which would take him more than 100,000 miles across 6 continents. That journey is the subject of his first book, Investment Biker, which was published in 1994. On his return, he continued as a media commentator at Worth, CNBC, and other networks, and as sometime professor. He began his Millennium Adventure, again around the world, which is the topic of Adventure Capitalist, in 1999, and pursued his quest until 2001. He now contributes to Fox News, among other media, and enjoys parenthood with his wife, Paige. Hockaday is delighted that this intrepid, articulate, fascinating, and witty man has consented to speak to us tonight. Please welcome Jim Rogers.
Thank you, Liza. Thank all of you for coming, but most of all, I guess I should thank you all. I have to tell you, I don't know about you, but I've been crying sitting up here watching this show and that show and all of these shows. I also thank the senior class. I want you to know that this is the most important graduation I've ever attended. Now, before you think I'm nuts, because you know I've graduated a few times, I've spoken at graduations and I've been to graduations. I never had a child in my life. In fact, I thought children were pretty hopeless and a waste of time and didn't want to have any children. A year ago, I had a baby girl, and I found out I was dead wrong. Baby girls are so wonderful. You cannot imagine how beautiful and wonderful my baby girl is. So I now know that this baby girl of mine is pure ecstasy, and so I am so flattered and so delighted to be here speaking to 100 baby girls, and I hope my baby girl grows up to be like you. When I got the invitation, I said, oh my goodness, what am I going to say? What am I going to say to 18-year-old girls? And then I got a letter from Tess. Tess is the president of class. She's here somewhere. And the letter described the class. I don't know if you all have read the letter or have seen the letter, but if you are parents, I urge you to try to find a copy of Tess's letter, because this really is a remarkable class. It's a remarkable letter. I hope all of you can save it for your baby girls so they can read it when they're older. But it just taught me again, wow, this is really something, and so what am I going to say to such a remarkable class of baby girls? But then I thought about it. I talked it over with my wife. I talked it over with my baby girl, although she doesn't speak yet. And I decided what I would do is imagine that it's 2021 and my baby girl is graduating, and what I would like for my baby girl to hear in 2021 when she's 18 and graduating from a school like Hockaday. My wife and I both are determined that she will go to an all-girls school. We're very keen on all girls or single-sex education, whether it's Hockaday or some other place, I don't know. I hope she's smart enough to get into Hockaday, but having read Tessa's letter, you know, who knows? It's a high standard down here. But what I want my baby girl to learn, and I hope all of you will learn it, is perhaps the most important thing is I want her to learn to be extremely independent. I'm already trying to teach her to be independent. Yes, I've been around the world on a motorcycle. Yes, I've been around the world in a car. Yes, I've done a lot of things. But I want my baby girl to know that she can do whatever she wants. I want her to come to her own conclusions. I want her to be totally independent. I don't want her listening to the government or to the press or her teachers. I want her listening to me, but maybe she shouldn't even listen to me, her father, all the time. But if she can just be independent and come to her own conclusions, no matter how absurd they may seem to me, to you, to everybody else, if those are her passions, I want her to pursue her passions. So very, very few people in life pursue their passions. Somebody tells them it's dumb. Somebody tells them you cannot do that. Somebody tells them you should go to law school. Somebody tells them something else. And I'm not talking about just because you're girls or even boys. Men, women have the same problems. Life is full of people who do not pursue their passions. Most people in life don't. So no matter how foolish you think your passion is, or whatever your other classmates say, if you want to be a gardener, go be a gardener. You'll be the best gardener in the world if that's what you want, and someday you'll be doing Buckingham Palace, or you'll have a chain of garden shops around the world. So please, be independent, pursue your own passions, and be tough, because I promise you life is not that easy, and I don't mean tough in the sense of a motorcycle, mama. Go out there and be tough with what you want to do, and don't let them stop you. Life is not easy, but you have to be persistent, and once you find your passion, please stay with it. And you might even fail. You might even fail twice at your passion. But it is a whole lot better to pursue your own passions than to wake up when you're 75 years old and say, you know, I never even tried. I never even did what I really wanted to do in life. I didn't even try because I was afraid